Doug mentioned, I'm the executive director of Grow Pittsburgh, and we're an urban agriculture organization. One of the easiest ways to describe what we do is we grow food and we teach people how to grow food. We do that with largely a fairly young population across a number of our programs. In fact, a 2011 demographic survey that we did of our supporters showed that over 50%, approximately 50% of our supporters are between the age of 18 and 34. So we certainly have an interested base in the young adult age group. At that same time, over the last 3 to 4 years, our staff size and budget have more than doubled. And I strongly believe that that is a response largely by many young adults to an interest in our programs and what we do. And also just an increasing interest in food, agriculture, and sustainability, which is really a lot of the tenets of what our mission is guided by. I think there's a few reasons for that. One is, especially among young parents or soon-to-be parents, concern about the food that children are eating. Health concerns. As I'm sure many of you know, we have a higher than average rate of both obesity and type 2 diabetes among our children here in Pittsburgh. And that is distressing, certainly, to many young parents who live in the city and beyond. Programs like our Edible Schoolyard program, which uses school gardens to teach kids about healthy eating as well as math and science, are becoming increasingly popular among that young adult age group because they do recognize innovative educational programming can help to curb things like childhood obesity and diabetes. School lunch reform is another thing that is high on the list and priorities of young adults who are interested in food in this region. It's something that's come to the forefront, certainly nationally, in our conversation with programs like Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign. And then finally, of course, physical activity as well. So all of those things are driving Pittsburgh young parents, soon-to-be parents, those concerned about children, to take an increased interest in food and agriculture in our area. On the other side of what we do, we do a lot of work around increasing urban food production, but also partnering with a lot of local family farms, and that you see a lot of young people actually becoming more and more interested in food as and agriculture as an occupation. And as I'm sure a lot of you know, there's not a whole lot of money in being a farmer these days. But there certainly is a whole lot of passion and a lot of interest in local food. And Pittsburgh has one of the most diverse local food regions in the country, actually. We have more small family farms per capita than in southwestern Pennsylvania than in most other regions in the country. And so folks are coming here to try their hand at farming. And that's something that we see increasing. And actually last year, Grow Pittsburgh launched an apprenticeship program for aspiring young urban and rural farmers. And we had over 50 applications for 4 slots. And these were not high-paying positions. They were actually fairly low-paying positions, but we still had that many folks interested in literally getting their hands in the dirt. And all of our apprentices were under the age of 30. And then finally, a civic engagement is something that we're actually seeing young people become increasingly interested in through food-based issues. And Doug mentioned our community gardening program. Community gardens you might not necessarily initially think of as kind of a gateway to civic engagement, but we're definitely seeing that a lot of young people are not necessarily interested in going to town hall meetings or sitting through listening to someone from a community group talk about various issues that might be happening in their neighborhood. They're interested in actually doing something physically, seeing physical change in their community. And a community garden is kind of like the gateway drug for civic engagement as far as we're concerned, because it enables people to actually see real change very quickly, usually within a year or so. And it brings people together through actually being able to build a garden and get their hands in the dirt and do something productive like grow food. So we've helped to start over a dozen, about half of those with the assistance of the county executive's office, actually, through our program called Allegheny Grows. And we're seeing that that's our largest growing program, and it's largely young adults who are interested in that. So just in terms of food and agriculture and sustainability and things that we can continue to support here in Pittsburgh to encourage young people to stay in this region as they are, I think continued opportunities for new farmers, both in an urban and a rural area, I think would be extremely helpful in terms of supporting and encouraging a local food movement, which is very important to young adults. Redeveloping our vacant land, not just necessarily for community gardens, but for park space, just for safe space that is outdoors. As many people have mentioned, young people are interested in being outside and being in safe spaces outside, and we don't have enough of those in many of our urban areas. And then finally, continuing to support innovative health education so that we don't see this upcoming generation being one that could potentially die sooner than our current generation. That's another thing that's extremely concerning to young adults in terms of food and agriculture in this region, and something that I think we still have an opportunity to do a lot about.